Okay. Podcast concept. Obviously I'm wide awake. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I don't know why that happens. I'll literally be up for like 3 days in a row, exhausted, and then finally crash and sleep for like the whole night and feel incredible. And then I would be like, okay, so my body kind of reset. I can go to bed at a decent time since I woke up like 7 o'clock this morning. And it's 2 o'clock and I'm still awake. And wide awake at that. So I'm just like, you might just make the damn cup of coffee at this point because you're not going to sleep anytime soon. So this leads me to this podcast episode concept. Okay, trying to formulate my words here. That famous saying. I kind of want to title that this episode with great power comes great responsibility, um, and lack thereof. So, I this has been happening since the dawn of time, right? But it's literally becoming this massive bubble, right? And that's just like almost like a market bubble. When the market gets too saturated with a particular item or concept or whatever, construct, whatever. And it literally inflation happens and the market is pretty much flooded with everyone trying to pretty much sell, and it becomes a bubble. And when it gets too massive, then we got to deal with the devastation, the aftermath of it, right? And I kind of see the painting, the writing on the wall per se, of what society is pretty much gearing towards, right? And people have been predicting this from years ago, um, but you really, really see it evident now, and you're starting to see the bubble form, right? I don't know how long we have, but this bubble is growing. So social media has become its first intentions was just to connect people, right? Um, but with all tools, it can be used for good and evil, right? And I know the concept as it was when it was first formed was with I wouldn't say true intentions, but it had a positive mission statement or a more pure, intentional vision statement, right? When it came to this business model. But if you're playing chess and you're thinking 20 steps ahead, if you know your target audience, you're going to know how this is going to be either a good thing or a bad thing. So when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, lives, YouTube, everyone pretty much has their opinion, right? Even I am saying my opinion on my podcast, right? This will be uploaded and eventually. So when I get to it, I'll get to it. But what I started to notice um, is there's pros and there's cons to this. So income brackets have dramatically shifted, especially in certain demographics, right? There's way more opportunity to learn. We're living pretty much in a golden age, despite all these other obstacles of the pandemic and gentrification and urban sprawling and all type of stuff, right? Our oceans are polluted. Um, Global warming, things of those natures, more of a nature digression, if that's a word. It's pretty much As one goes down, one is going up, right? So we're almost looking towards a dystopia in the future if this keeps going, because it's very self-absorbed. So currency, people are making millions of dollars, and they're finding ways to do it. And people are sharing this information on how to do it, right? That's why I kind of learned a lot about business. Like, I had background with an ex-boyfriend. He was, there was many cons, but there was a couple of pros. So, all experiences has a form of blessing in it, right? I learned it sparked my business motivator, learning through him. And because of it, I pretty much my aim was to become a sponge when it comes to anything business, anything within my particular craft that I wanted to learn about, right? So I watched a lot of videos on marketing, business sense, and having the right mindset, and this. I'm always constantly trying to soak up some form of information. Every day I do this. Every day. Yes, I scroll Instagram and Facebook, but I watch a lot of freaking YouTube, read a lot of freaking articles, listen to podcasts. So I'm kind of always in business mode every day. It's just not as proactive as in a tangible sense of now this is in fruition yet. I do a lot of planning and processing. So this way the plan is kind of laid out. That's just my process and my strategy in my head. But getting back to the main story here, there's a lot of information that's out there, right? Everybody has a platform, and some information, it is important to do your due diligence, right? And a lot of people don't kind of dig deep when it comes to this concept. And they'll get like a bad piece of information, and the first thing that they'll do is, well, you can't believe everything on the internet. Don't look up stuff on Google. Google is your friend. What your enemy is that you literally stop mid-sentence. Like, if you just dug deeper and kind of checked your resources, then, you would have found, okay, this is like contradicting to the actual fact, right? And I've done this plenty of times where it was just like I had one way of thinking because I've heard someone say something, and then later on reading it and then watching a video or hearing from someone speaking to someone, and it confirmed that no, what you actually had was not correct. Every time, like clock, every time I try to record, there's always a truck that goes by. Anyway, tis the hour. So anyway, I obviously have to re-record this, so it can be uploaded clearly, and I put on the website. But what I'm trying to say is that there's many positives when it comes to technology and these particular platforms. But there's a lot of negative feedback when it comes to it. And it seems to be more negative feedback than positive sometimes. So when it comes to, there's an ebb and flow. So when it comes to learning and you picking up information, it depends on what you invest yourself in learning, right? And making sure that you can master what you're pretty much the field you're trying to learn in. And I watch a lot of The Future right now, and the guy Chris, he's like I literally say he was a whole different kind of beast, because it's just his area of his just depth of knowledge is just insane. He's like a one-stop shop when it comes to creatives, especially when it comes to design and kind of, as a freelancer or, setting up your own business. He's like a gold mine of information. But what happens a lot of times is that you'll get this information. If you don't do your due diligence and you then try to regurgitate it, you can get the facts wrong. And in a sense, the more that you learn, there is almost this sense of authority that happens. So I feel a bit, more comfortable when it comes to talking about psychology because I've been literally learning it for so long. I've been learning it, I would say, about for like 5 or 6 years. I've, just been diving deep into psychology and just kind of submerging myself in what it is and all aspects and, different approaches and behavioral and cognitive and, psychodynamic, whatever. But I dug in pretty deep. But that does not necessarily, I'm a very cautious person. So I kind of would not really post a lot of things that's on Facebook as in this is fact. I literally have to look and go to like, if it doesn't say .gov, then it's just like, maybe I'm not going to use it. Because I want strong data, right? To back this stuff. Especially in the field that I'm in nonprofit, like you need to cross your T's and dot your I's. But there is this false sense of authority that people seem to pick up because of social media, and as soon as you start getting a following, people, you start getting a fan base, and then it kind of furthers the ego, right? And it almost extends into egocentrism, and it's almost like this false. Now it's like, I wouldn't say arrogance, but it's this is my stance. This is how I feel, because people give me the pat on the back. It must be fact, right? And not all the time that is what it is. So I just seen a young lady. She was talking about there's people like on her feed, and everybody has a feed, right? I'm like now learning about feeds, but she's on her feed and people are commenting and people are always telling her that she needs to dress a certain kind of way. She would do so much better if she just looked this way, and she's just like, I hope you know that I'm not listening to you, like, your opinion does not make me who I am, right? And it takes a strong sense of self for you to withstand that for a long period of time. You can try, but to stay whole of the good fight, and not faint midway is a feat. And I've noticed that the pressure of people put on others, and it's something as superficial of how someone should dress. It's completely like mind blowing that people can literally have such drive and strong mindset, just strong stances on, you need to do this because I think. I think. Okay, now I know I think. There's no data backing your what you're bringing to this table. There's no ebb and flow, right? So it's just like, you're telling me this for what? How are you helping me with this? That's like someone saying that, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't get this branded chip, you should get that one. I'm like, well, unless you're going to pay for it, then I'm more than happy to try. But a lot of times people kind of just have this false authority on these platforms, and it's really sad because some people, and I've even come down to it where it's just, damn, should I really like just kind of go back to the gym, or damn, should I just like perm my hair? Like, I'm completely natural, right? I'm in the most natural state I ever can be in, right? And I've had people that have given me compliments, and I have people that have given me literally negative, real negative things to say about how I should wear my hair. And it's crazy because it's never in your face, right? All these social media and stuff like that is you never see the person's face. These warriors, but it's that craving of validation and that sense of if I can overpower this or if I can make myself seem as though I am the correct one, even though there's not really that deep of a research yet, and people may not even know the full story of certain things, and they'll give their opinion quick, fast, without asking the who, what, where, and why, and hows. And then they end up eating their words afterwards because it's just like a month later, something pops up and it kind of reveals the whole story, and then you feel stupid. It's just like, why did you even say anything in the first place? You don't know the whole situation, right? But that happens a lot of the time, and it's easier because it's just like, oh, just ignore it. And it's just like, yeah, just ignore it. But this younger generation, they're geared to, it's not feeling accepted amongst who I would say who counts, but your immediate circle, the people that's going to nurture you, the people that is going to sharpen your sword. I've noticed that even the younger generation loves to seek that false inflation of validation through anyone that presses a like. Okay, you good, you my peeps. That person doesn't know you. That person doesn't know when you have to go inside your house and live the rest of your life. So it's just like, and people will literally put up a false life just to get that like. So it's just like, it's almost like, I forgot the diagnosis on it, but it's a part of disassociation. But it's to the point where someone dissociates themselves so much that they come up with a completely different personality. And then they associate themselves with that instead, right? So it's just like they're almost projecting that intentionally. So it's just like, yeah, obviously there is some kind of there's a gain that they want to get from this. But if you keep practicing that, right, living this false life, you're going to think that this is normal. Because I know the first time you did it, you felt weird. I know it was a tinge. Everybody feels it. When you do something that is not, you're pretty much, lying or omission, there's a tinge of guilt. And what happens, and you see it all the time, where when you see it enough, you start to become desensitized. So even like video games, my son is 6 and I have to watch him with his Roblox because some of the games are just like, I would never, I used to play dolls at your age. You're literally watching people, heads being decapitated. And I'm like, cut it out. Like, no, this is inappropriate. And now he starts to repeat it, or he knows that it's just like, I can't watch that because it's inappropriate. And it's just like, thank you. But I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't go a certain kind of way, because kids are very impressionable, and also are adults. If we look at the whole picture, people literally believe a false sense of a life, even though we know that people post not their lives, but yet they fall into this fantasy. So it's just the whole goal when it came to selling, right? Because everyone used to say sex sells. And at one point, yeah, it kind of did, but that's not the true, thing that actually sells. Pain sells. You have to find a problem and then you solve it, right? And that's what happens. You have to find the source of someone's pain and then fix it. So it's not sex sells, because standard of beauty, people still do it, but they literally want to put a this is what X, Y, and Z is supposed to look like. And because you don't, you're going to feel this pain. And then now you're going to buy the clothes that this person is wearing. You're going to go and eat the foods that this person's eating. You're going to go to places with this person because you want that lifestyle, because you don't want to feel that pain, right? So it's like $1 million industry with the gym. Do you know how many people, if I had to buy a business, right? If I had to buy a franchise, I'm buying a gym. Wanna know why? It's not for the people that go to the gym. My sales are for the people that every January they go, they set up their plan, they're gun ho, and the gyms are packed, okay? From January to about mid-March, gyms are packed. You can't get a seat. You can't get a set-in because there's a wait for the machine on every machine. And most of the time, people don't even know their form yet. So it's just like, you're just kind of looking in frustration because it's just like, you don't even know what you're doing. And like, I can feel my heart rate going down. I can feel that my body's starting to become go into a rest mode. So it's just like, you're messing up my workout right now. But those rush of people, those are my sales. Because once they stop going to the gym, they literally forget about it. And the cost is so low, it's literally $15, $20. You're not going to miss it. But people have had gym memberships. Shoot, I have a gym membership right now that I'm not going to the gym right now, but it's steadily being paid. People will steadily pay this gym bill for like 5 years and only went to the gym for 2 months or maybe a month. Some people not even a month, a week. Some people a day. So I'm literally just, it's passive income at that point. So gym is the way to go, honestly, for me. If I had to buy a franchise, I'm buying a gym. Plus everybody's becoming health conscious, and people are starting to do more workouts and stuff like that. Then yeah, I'm opening up a gym. Hell yeah. It probably a Planet Fitness. Because it's 24 hours, more money. But anyway, it's one of those things where pain sells. And people succumb to that, and people just want to be heard, honestly. That's the whole goal. Nobody wants to feel like I'm the person that needs to be fixed. Everybody wants to be the expert. It's all these chiefs and not enough Indians at this point. And I'm not saying not to hit your marker, not to hit your potential, like your full potential. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is reach your full potential before going on social media and saying that you have reached it. I'm nowhere near my full potential. And I'm learning. But from where I came from, and this is even before college, this wasn't even my mindset to even think, maybe I should learn how to do X, Y, and Z, so it's just like the growth so far, it's just like you're very close, and God's like backing this. So it's just go girl, fly, like run. God's giving you the go, so it's like God be the glory. But I don't want people to think that I know it all because I'm doing all of this. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. This God sent people that literally are just like, yo, I'm here to help you. And it's just like, yo, I don't know this person from a can of paint. I would have never met this person. People will come to me and say, I want to be on your board. And it's just like, yo, do you know how much of a blessing that is? It's not easy vetting people, and it's not easy finding people to be passionate about something that you want to do. So it's just like, I got two professors that literally was my professor. And then guess what? I got another professor. And even though she was not my professor, she is in the English field, and she knows nonprofits. I was just like, yo, she's like a rare breed. So everybody has their lethal weapon that they bring to this table. If it wasn't for God kind of moving the chess pieces around, it wouldn't have happened. My anxiety was too bad for me to just go out and be like, hey, I have a nonprofit, maybe, like God knows this. God knows me. But he knows to send this person X, Y, and Z, like send them this email or just ask for help this way, instead of doing it the traditional way. And that person was like, yo, I'm down for it, yo. I'm down for it. And it's just like, yo, I feel like I know that I should have put in way more effort than this. Technically, because everybody else has to, but it's like God knows that it's just like sometimes you're a penguin. That he's just like, I'm gonna give you a pass. Here goes your grace. And it's like, yo, thank you, yo, and it's almost like the saying favor ain't fair. And it's just like, yo, favor sometimes really isn't fair. Because honestly, in everyday world, it's just like, okay, who are you for? Okay, there's a billion nonprofits out there, so it's just like whatever, but for that person to say, I want to help you, it's like, I'm completely grateful for that, because we're living in a day and age where everyone's on self mode, and in order for the world to go round, you have to be able to be of servitude to others. And we're in a very self-centered world right now. So it's a battle out there, man. And I pray that we can come together and just kind of like move mountains, honestly, because we're not going to be able to do this in the long haul. We're not. If it literally is just almost like a caste system, then there's going to be a lot of robberies and a lot of murders and a lot of, because COVID hit. We literally ran out of toilet paper. Imagine a famine. It's going to be dystopia city, I'm telling you, it's going to be dystopia. So we need to have compassion. We need to have the right mindsets. And we need to really watch our eye on our children, because the games that pops up on Oliver's Roblox, like the videos on YouTube, if you're not paying attention, they're wild, man. It's just like, change it, because you know what it means, but your child is like thinking, haha, that's so funny. And it's just like, no, baby, that's not funny at all. Like, so it's one of those type of things where I talk about God all the time with my son. And I encourage him to pray. And soon, like, I want to get pretty much a children's Bible for him, so kind of he can understand it, because my memory is not always that spot on, so I mix up names. I remember it was David and Goliath, and I told my son that David's name was Joseph, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm sorry, God, I should know better by now. But it was just like, okay, you're on the right track. Just keep studying. But, yeah, this false authority, it's almost like a high, people are being addicted to that high. People are addicted to validation. Validation is a substance. It's just like gambling can be, cigarettes, drugs, alcohol. Validation is just another source. Food, sugar, like anything, attention seekers, and we're literally breeding the wrong, we're enforcing the wrong outlook when it comes to these things. So when Mark Zuckerberg made his mission statement and vision and business plan, if he did his due diligence and actually did the psychology behavior when it comes to the target audience, he's gonna know that this is something where this is gonna sell really huge, because people seek validation, and this is a perfect way to get validation. It's a ingenious idea if you really think about it, and it can be used in its purity. But the way our moral structure is going, it can feed one wolf or the other. And I really have a feeling that he knew this. And he knows it, definitely, because you can see the data, you see what goes on, you see, so be mindful, definitely be mindful, and watch up. And it's time for me to go to bed. Hi, Ollie.
I'm getting scared.
Wait, let me